Boom. 6:06 p.m. July 9th, 2025. Grit Squad team meeting. Go over a few things here as a full team, and then we will split up full program, all of us together. So we'll get this going. We have a first tournaments this weekend. Let's go. We have uniforms have arrived. I'm fired up. So Friday 1 to 3. Friday 1 to 3 at the same place that we were last night. If you're coming from Southern Oregon, keep checking the chat. I'll make sure that we have all of the names, or I'll get you the location of where it's at if you don't know. And then the schedule came out. So we all play Friday night. The pink plays at 6. The blue plays at 8. And the black plays at 9, the nightcap, the late night. So we'll all hopefully be able to watch the pink game. If you guys are not, since we'll all be there, hopefully 1 to 3. I'm gonna mute you. So we're all hopefully be there for the pink game. And everybody that can't stick around, we will have the blue and the black also. We're gonna go. I'm gonna pass it over to Coach Lunt. He has a few things that we want to talk about. But one other thing, the mental training, you'll be getting an email. You'll get an email, and that you will sign up for the Master Your Mindset training. So I know Kaysen's done it. Some of you other guys have done it that are listening, Mitch and Harrison and Tyler. Well, yes, Harrison hasn't yet. So you'll get that information in your email. In our player chat, I put where to see that. So if you have any questions, you can reach out. But Coach Lunt, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Coach, can you share the or give me access so I can share my screen? Sweet. Okay. All right. So I was tuning in on our Sunday call. Sorry, I couldn't chip in. But through listening through some of the conversations, I wanted to touch on. We're going to touch on two things. We're going to touch on levels of leadership, and then we're going to touch on BCD, which all returners know what that means. That were here for us in spring, but it's a good concept to take on and understand. So I just put in the chat levels of leadership. You've got example. You've got, did everyone get that? There it is. Example, organizational, and then enforcer. So this is one of the things when we start talking about leadership in our program. I'm talking specifically about our men's basketball program at Pacific. We do not assign captains. I'm not a bit. I am anti-captains. I think it's the worst thing you can do because it takes away the voices of everyone in every age. And if you have players that can grasp these concepts at an early age, then allow them to be leaders. So I always bring up the example of Luke Winkler, 4-year starter for us. He understood all of these concepts when he was 18 years old. So it'd be a disservice to us in our program if we don't allow him to be a leader and show leadership skills. So these levels are very, very important, and they go in this order. And I'm going to explain that while we go through this. But number one thing is the number one step in being a leader is you got to lead by example. So you got to be one of the hardest workers on the floor. You got to be one of the hardest workers in the classroom. You got to be one of the hardest workers, off the court, outside of practice. Someone's echoing here. Can we get you guys all to mute? All right, thanks. Because that shit bothers me a ton. So you gotta be locked into being the example. All right. So that's the number one level. You could be a great enforcer. You can know everything that's going on with organizational stuff, but no one's going to respect you as a leader if you don't work hard. Period. All right. So like that's got to be the number one step as far as developing into a leader. Organizational means that you understand what's going on. You could be the hardest worker on the floor, but if you don't have any fucking idea of what's going on, then like you're never going to get people to support and be behind you if you don't know what's going on. So it's important to understand the example piece, but it's also very important to understand that you've got to know what you're trying to do on the court. What are the core values with the team? What are the standards, but all the logistical things that are within the program, you've got to understand what those look like and what those are about. So it starts off with being the example. It starts off knowing what the hell's going on. So being organizational with your leadership. And then the third piece is the enforcer piece, sorry, which is all about holding people to high standards. So the toughest thing with leadership is a lot of guys think it's all about giving high fives and being positive. But great leaders hold their teammates to high standards, which means that if guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do, they're not afraid of opening their voices, which equals conflict, and holding guys to high standards, which equals confrontation. So those are the levels if you want to be a great leader. Not everyone wants to be great. Not everyone wants to be leaders, and that's okay. You got no problem with that. Followership is a tough thing to do too. But when you guys were on the meeting on Sunday, I heard a lot about leadership, and this really brought this into my mind, was talking about the levels of leadership. So you got to be the hardest worker. You got to know what the hell's going on, and then you got to hold your teammates to high standards. Now, just an example of this, like I brought up earlier, you can know, or you can be the hardest worker, but if you don't know what the hell's going on, then you're not going to be respected as a leader. You could have an enforcer mentality by telling players, what they need to do. But if you're not backing it up with your actions, you're never going to be respected as a leader. All right. So these are valuable, things to know when you're going into leadership. I always bring up the example my sophomore year in high school. We had a really, really good varsity team. We had two Division I players, Seth Newsom and Jamal Bento. Seth played at Dartmouth, and Jamal played at San Jose State. And I was a sophomore that was our starting point guard. That was like, hey, just pass to these guys. Don't turn the ball over. Play good defense, and don't mess anything up. And that had an old school Bobby Knight, Rick Eveleth coach, who was straight to the book about stuff. But one of the things that I learned at an early age, being in high school, was you know these things as far as leadership goes are really important. So Seth Newsom, who is our Dartmouth player, was lazy, was inconsistent with his effort, and pissed me off even when I was a sophomore in high school. When he was a senior, one practice he decided we were all running because he didn't want to work hard, and Coach Evelyn was making an example of it. Well, loudmouth me just tells him, "Hey, went up to him and said, hey, I'm not fucking running again. So you need to get your ass going." This is a sophomore talking to a senior who is big time all county, all this, stuff. Turned around, and next thing I know, I had a right fist hit me in the face, and I had to tackle his ass, and it all got broken up. But like, that was when I knew at a pretty young age that, like, people respected what I said even as a sophomore, because I was one of the hardest workers. I knew what the hell was going on, and then I wasn't afraid to step up to anyone, and hold them in line. So I think that those are things that are important to understand with leadership. If that's the route you want to go and you want to be a leader, and like I said, it's not meant for everyone, and it's okay if you're not. There's a lot of value that comes into being a follower too. But these are the key things you've got to know. You've got to be the hardest worker. You've got to be the example. You got to know what the hell's going on, and then you got to hold people to high standards. So I just wanted to touch on that before we got into BCD. But those are good things to understand. Hopefully, you guys wrote those things down, and we can talk about them later on too. All right, so I'm going to share my screen right now. This is. Bear with me. I'm a moron when it comes to technology. All right. So can everyone see that? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can. Great. Okay. All right. So I'm going to turn this into. Okay. All right. So this is the one thing we talk about in our program all the time, which is no BCDing. So no blaming, no complaining, no being defensive. And the way I talk to our team about this is just don't do any other options. Great, so try to avoid doing these things as much as possible. So here's just some definitions of what they look like, and I would write these down because I think they're very helpful. So let's start off with blaming. All right, so what does blaming mean? What does it mean to blame? When you assign responsibility for why things are the way they are to someone other than you, that's blaming. All right. The biggest thing I see out of people that blame is nothing's their fault. They're fault finders, and they take zero responsibility for anything that's happening in their life. All right. And this is, I actually spoke at my wife teaches 7th and 8th grade summer school. So we got all the kids in summer school that one don't want to go to class. I mean, it's a whole different demographic than what we're doing here, because it's like I go and speak to them and they don't give two shits about basketball, but trying to relay a message on the importance of these things. And actually, my wife was like, well, it actually kind of took some of this into play. So I was actually kind of happy about that. But you've got to understand that when you're talking, and this is when it comes down to conscious mindset, being observant of what you're saying to people, and the conversations that happen when you're talking with people, try to avoid these. Right. Best advice I ever got from one of my mentors, Randy Hansen, who was a women's soccer coach at University of Puget Sound, won 17 straight conference championships, played in 3 national championship games, never won one, lost 2 of them on PKs, but is one of the best soccer coaches of all time. He said, in order to be a leader, you have to accept everything that's happened in your life and take responsibility, even if it's things you can't control, which is another core value that we talk about. So what does it mean to blame? When you assign responsibility for why things are the way they are to someone other than you, you claim zero responsibility and you're a fault finder, which means you're constantly trying to find fault in other people, and you don't look at yourself internally. All right. So challenge for you guys, especially at your age, is to notice the language you have and the conscious mindset you have when you're amongst your peers and you're talking about things. Right. And I really challenge you to embrace responsibility for everything. And we're going to do another a talk later on where we're going to talk about E plus R equals O, which is another key thing that goes into a lot of this discussion here. All right. Any questions about what the blame game looks like? Okay. All right. What does complaining mean? If you are describing your problems to someone who can't help you, you are complaining. Simple as that. So if you are having a discussion with someone, right, and you are describing all the problems or all the things that are wrong, okay, in your life, and that person cannot help you, you are complaining, right? people that need to help you need a reference point. You need to understand what you're going through. All right. So that's why you want to focus on, if you're going to talk to someone about your problems or your issues, make sure it's someone that can help you and who can contribute. All right. If you're only interested in telling your story and how bad it is without a mindset on fixing it or getting past it, so pretty much you're just whining and there's no solutions, or you're trying to bring up solutions to try to improve on that situation, you are complaining. That is what we call complainers. All right. So I got no problem with people who want to work through problems or talk about problems with people that are going to be solution finders and help them find out what's the next best thing, okay, to do. But if you're just all about bitch and just a bitch and have no point or mindset of trying to fix it or get past it or work through it, we got no time for complainers. Complainers drive me nuts. All right. So those are two staples when you start defining what complaining looks like. Be solution oriented, describing a situation to try to understand or navigate through that. That's not complaining. Okay. But all the other things that we're talking about, that's complaining. All right. What does it mean to be defensive? I broke it down into these three areas, and it can go a lot. Okay. But emotional reactivity, feeling attacked, even if the other person's intent wasn't hostile, okay, or wasn't attack mode, responding with anger, irritation, or anxiety. Okay, those are what you call emotional reactivity when it comes to anytime you're questioned about things or someone brings up, hey, so tell me a little bit more about this. Okay. So you want to avoid that from an emotional standpoint. All right. One of the biggest things that happens with people that are defensive, especially with males, is your ego. All right. Ego is a big thing when it comes to being defensive. And when we start talking about these three things, we're going to get into this here in a second, but like, I want you guys to think about the three biggest things or out of these three, blaming, complaining, being defensive, which one do you struggle with the most? This is the one I personally struggle with the most. Being vulnerable with you guys. I struggle with this. I get defensive all the time where I need to check myself or my wife needs to check me or even my players. But this is one of those things that I struggle with. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that I have a tendency of wanting to answer right away rather than taking the complete feedback or what's being said to me until the final sentence and then add in my thoughts or my views. All right. So, that's one of the things with being defensive is a lot of times you might wait till they get done, but you're already creating the narrative in your mind on what your response is going to be. And that's being defensive. All right. So like I challenge you when you guys are receiving feedback, when you're being told something, and this is not just, this is as a student, this is as a basketball player, this is when you get in the real world, try to do the best you can to have a conscious mindset on everything that's being told to you before you start building a rebuttal on what you need to say. So take in the feedback, or take in what message they're trying to take to you. Okay. Another form of being defensive is deflecting responsibility, which kind of goes into the blame, complaining, making excuses, denying faults, just everything that you're going to do to take any kind of responsibility off yourself. All right. And that's, we all know examples of that, right? Like in probably some of you guys are even thinking about those through your mind when you've gotten feedback or when someone has told you something. All right. But trying to avoid deflecting the responsibility. Like I said, I talked about this with leadership is you can't fully be respected or accepted as a leader if you cannot take responsibility for your actions or everything that's going on in your life. Right. And then the last piece, which my 14-year-old daughter does to me all the time, which pisses me off, and I've got to check it sometimes, is the over-explaining or justifying, which is giving excessive reasons to prove you were right or misunderstood, or trying to win the argument rather than listen. And it's funny because it's like daughter like son, because this is one of my things I do all the time. All right. So having a conscious mindset with defensiveness, listening to what's being said, stop developing your rebuttal or your mindset on how to respond back, and be fully engaged on what that feedback, that talk, whatever that looks like. All right. And that can be super helpful as a player, because nothing drives coaches more insane when you try coaching them and they've got an answer for you, or they've got a reason why things didn't go their way, or have an excuse. Right. We don't want to hear that. Period. Right. So yes, coach, take it in, time or place, and then we can have a discussion about those things. All right. So my challenge to you guys, right? Number one, and Coach Miner, I put this together in the grit, is what I want you guys to do in the next 24, 36 hours is I want you to think about which one you struggle with the most, as far as blaming, complaining, being defensive. Okay. I want you to write down which one you're
We have a
you
Google
struggle.
sheet that or a form that I'll send out to them that they can click which one they blame, defend, or complain or defend, and then fill out the rest.
Okay.
What else did you want included in that?
No, I know last time we did it, didn't we have like a section where they could add why or some examples? Was that on there?
Yeah, that's on there. So they pick which one and then they put how they can change it or what they have had issues with in the past.
Yeah. So follow that. Be part of you guys growing from teenagers to young adults is being self-reflective, and being and having a conscious mindset. Like I'm telling you, there's nothing that's going to get you more to where you want to go with your goals, whether it's basketball, whether it's academics, whether it's just life, than starting to embrace those things. One of the best quotes I've ever heard was, education is sexy, awareness is sexier. And that whole idea is that, like, yeah, you can be as smart as need be, but like being aware too of like everything that's going on and having a conscious mindset is far more important than that. So be self-reflective on these. Okay, go through those. Be honest with yourself. We're not all perfect. Um, one of my wife's students today rose his hand, and asked the question. He goes, "Do you ever make mistakes?" And I go, "All the time." And that's part of life, and that's part of growing, and that's part of leadership. So we're not perfect. No one's perfect. Okay. But honestly, having a conscious mindset of trying to improve in those areas and working those areas out is only going to grow you as a person. It's only going to grow you as a man. It's only going to grow you as a leader. Okay. And these are life lessons that you guys got to start learning when you start heading into things. All right. So eliminate blaming, eliminate complaining. All right. Eliminate being defensive. Defensive. All right. If your toughest thing is complaining all the time, try going a day without complaining. Go 24 hours. And let's be honest, you guys sleep 8 hours already. So what is that? 16 hours, right? Like try to focus on 16 hours and not complaining. And I'll tell you right now, you do things like that, even if you're not able to accomplish it, do it the next day. But like there's no one in this world that can tell me and tell me to my face that, like, oh, trying to avoid complaining, that's really going to harm you. You know what I mean? Okay, so like these are challenges that you guys got to start thinking through, that are only going to better you as human beings. All right, and get you to where you want to go. That's all I got, Brant. Does anyone have any questions?
I would just say comment the things that you're teaching us will also help them in their marriages. You
Absolutely.
can apply that. You can apply all three of those in your marriage, because when you find your significant other, it's not always easy.
Amen.
Yeah, yeah, so I think we're gonna wrap it up. I know there's Brandon. I want you to get to meet with Coach Jesse. And then the pink, I think we're gonna have a quick meeting with Coach Lunt and then we'll be done. So Joel, do you want to keep that group in here with
Yeah,
me?
let's keep my group in here if that's okay, since you're already recording.
So it'll stay recording for that team. And then how many pink guys do we have? Justin, Zach, Dylan,
Ty.
Kason, Ty. So Ty, if you wanna, Coach, are you able to do your own or do your Zoom room for a quick, just meet
Yeah.
with those guys so that way they can all meet Ty?
Yeah, let me so I'm probably gonna have to exit out of here and then put it in the group chat, right?
But yeah, that would be best.
Okay. So I'm gonna exit and then I'm gonna create a room and I'll put it in our great group chat.
And then if you could record that Zoom, that'd be awesome.
Yep. Are you joining that one too, Brent?
I'm gonna probably stay with this one.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll create it right now.
All right, sounds good. Thanks. So if you're Cooper 16U, which is you, Tyler, Eddie, and LJ, and Chin and Cooper, LJ, and I know that Zach's not able to be here. But if you are on the pink squad, so Justin, you can hop off. Zach, you can hop off. Tyler, stay on. Eddie. Tyler Lakem, you can hop off. Mitch, you can hop off. Harrison, hop off. Chin, stick around. Kale, stick around. So we'll have both the blue and the black stick around because Coach Willis had to umpire. He's a baseball umpire. So he's trying to make some money. So I can't fault him. So we'll have both those squads just stick here. So the freshmen, sophomores, incoming freshmen, sophomores, and juniors should still be here. So Joel, Tyler's still signed on, and Mitch are. I don't know if they're driving or something, but they're on the pink squad. And then they're 6, 7. There'll be 7 on each of the black and blue. So I'll turn it over to you, Joel, if you want to pass around and just let those guys hop on camera and introduce themselves real quick.
Yep.
And then anything you want to say, just obviously, we can also set up additional ones. I know Coach Willis is going to do that. He's going to have a group message with we're going to set up a pink, black, and blue team chats. And then he's going to message out to the blue team and set up a time when he can meet with you, Cooper, and Kale, and Eddie, and LJ, and Mitt or Braden. So we'll be setting up those group chats, but I'll turn it over to you, Coach Jesse. I'm gonna be here. I'll be here, but we got a wild one. So I'm gonna
Gotcha.
try to get this kid under control. So
All right. Hey, Brandon, I'm going to start with you there since all your teammates are down here in Southern Oregon. Why don't you say who you are? I know we kind of did it, but not everybody was here, and we have the majority of everybody here now. Why don't you explain who you are, the high school that you played for, and what you look forward most playing with Team Grit this summer?
I'm Brandon Lee. I played for North Clackamas Christian School. I'm just looking forward to getting to know everyone as players and competing in all the tournaments and games.
And what are you looking forward most to this summer? Like what are you trying to get better at so your teammates can help keep you accountable?
I'd probably say just staying aggressive and not, getting down on myself and just, yeah.
All right. Sounds good. We'll hear from, why don't we hear from Brian? Why don't you go? Why don't you turn your camera on for us too, Brian, if you can? And go over the same stuff. And the biggest thing is I want everybody to let everybody know what they want to work on. And so that your teammates can help keep you accountable, because everybody has a weakness in their game. And our goal this year as coaches is to help challenge you guys in those areas so that we can help make you better. So when season rolls along for your high school season and stuff like that, those are some things that you've mastered and you don't have to work on those anymore, and you can work on something else. So go ahead, Brian.
My name is Brian Nunez. I'm going into my freshman year at North Medford High School. And something I want to work on is communicating with my teammates.
I like that. I like that one a lot. Communication, teams who communicate are teams who become champions. And that is a very tough thing for all you guys to do at your age. Totally understand that. Let's go to AJ. Same thing real quick. Explain who you are, what school, and what you really want to work on this summer during our tournament so your brothers can keep you accountable.
I'm AJ, and I'm going to my sophomore year at St. Mary's High School. The most thing I'm trying to work on is scoring inside the paint mostly and being consistent.
I love the being consistent. That's a really good thing. So we're just gonna stay with Team Black real quick, and then we'll have Coach Miner roll through Team Blue. Luke Towsley, go ahead.
My name's Luke Towsley. I'm going in my freshman year at Grants Pass High School. And something I want to work on is probably staying consistent, not getting down on myself when something bad happens.
Response. Love that. And when we miss shots, we don't hang our heads. We sprint back on defense and create something positive. Max Thompson, let's go.
My name is Max Thompson. I'm going into my freshman year at Grants Pass High School. And one thing I need to work on is probably playing harder on defense.
All right. If you don't play defense for me, you won't see a whole lot of the floor. So that's something that you definitely need to figure out for sure. AJ, not Ian, you want to use Brian's phone real quick and introduce yourself? So go ahead and unmute that. This is Ian will explain who he is, what school he's going to, and what he wants to work on.
All right, my name's Ion. I'm gonna be an upcoming freshman. I'm going to St. Mary's, and something I'm trying to accomplish this season is getting my confidence up. Yeah.
All right, before I turn the time over to Coach Miner to go through the blue guys, the one message that I had for all you guys, since everybody but Brandon's here, I'll turn my face towards them, okay, Brandon, but you can still hear. Everybody does things in life through 3 actions. So there's fear. People do things out of fear. People do things out of duty. And people do things out of love. Between those 3 actions, you can decipher everything within that funnel. And so I guess something that I'd like to hear about is what you guys think fear is. Who wants to step up and talk about fear? And blue guys, if you guys want to step in, let me know. Anybody want to take that? All right, what's that? All right, go ahead, Coop. Go ahead.
I think fear is letting your emotions control what you do without like thinking twice. Like if I don't want to do something, I'm just not gonna do it. But if I'm confident in myself, I'm gonna do it even if I feel like I might fail. So I think fear is your brain holding you back from doing stuff.
Yeah, I think fear really keeps us from becoming the person that we're meant to be. I also feel like fear is also something that'll prevent you from becoming the athlete that you want to be. So many kids are and even coaches are afraid that they're going to fail. But the best players in the world, the best coaches in the world fear. There's a saying that about fear that fear everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. Okay, so that's something that's really important to me. When black team or any grit team steps on the floor, we're not going to be afraid of somebody else, no matter who they have on their team. We're going to compete just like we would anybody else. Okay, duty. Who wants to tackle duty real quick? Who do you think? Go ahead, Kale.
Um, Duty would be something that you perceive needs to be done, and you almost take pride in doing it. Like on defense, you take pride in making hustle plays and diving on the floor and taking responsibility for your matchup and other matchups and holding your teammates accountable. I feel like just having a responsibility with doing things that you need to do.
Yeah, I like that. Doing things because it's your responsibility, doing duty. All right. Love. Who want anybody on the video chat that's not here down in Southern Oregon wanna attack that? Tyler Edie, LJ Leland. Do one of you guys want to attack that and participate? Okay, that's a no. Anybody in here?
Yes, Tyler Eddy. Tyler
Oh.
Eddy, talk about it.
Wait, what was I supposed to talk about? Sorry.
Okay, so there's 3 actions, right? Fear, duty, and what's the last one?
It was love.
Love. Yep, that's what you're explaining.
I think love is like doing something that you're like passionate about. Like we're all clearly like passionate about basketball, so we're all gonna. I don't know really.
I love coaching. I love helping you kids grow. So, that's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it because of duty. I'm not doing it because of fears. But I love coaching basketball and I love helping kids develop a sport that I grew up loving. And that's what it's all about, is learning. The more you love the game, the more desire you'll want to work, and the easier it is to get along with what Coach Lunt talked about tonight in relationship to not complaining or being defensive. If your goal is to help other people and get better yourself, then that's usually the right path to take. So fear, duty, and love. I hope that you do more things in your life that you love doing, and not doing stuff out of fear or out of duty. For example, Coach Miner loves people taking charges. He loves it. All right, Coach Miner, all you.
Well, it's your duty. It's your duty to take charges. Let's go. LJ, did you have something you wanted to add in about love? I saw your kind of hand go up and you're not there. So what do you got? Tell us a little bit about.
Well, Coach Jesse kind of said it himself, but I was just gonna say that if you do something out of love, you're doing it for a purpose. It's something that you really enjoy doing, and yeah, you're not just doing it for no reason. You're doing it for a purpose.
If you love basketball, you won't make it at the college level for sure. You have to love it because it is something that it's extremely difficult. And I know a lot of the players in this program have aspirations of playing in college. And if you just want to play because you like the cool gear, or you want the shoes that are cool, or the jumpsuit, or that girls like guys that play basketball, if you just like it, you won't make it. You have to love it because it gets hard. and it's a commitment. So if you like it, it's kind of like when you date somebody. If you like them, you break up, you can still be friends. But if you love somebody, you work through things. But so yeah, I think that's a great lesson. So we're gonna have Cooper, LJ, Kale, and Tyler introduce themselves. So we'll go Cooper first. Go ahead. Same order that Coach Jesse had then.
My name is Cooper Gagnon. I'm going to be a junior, and my favorite, or not favorite, thing I'm trying to work on this part is my decision making and just taking pride on defense.
I think you're a good defender, and I think playing off 2 feet benefits you a lot for sure. Just patience and poise when you get into the paint off 2 feet. Good job, Cooper. LJ.
Okay, I think this year I definitely want to work on filling out the stat sheet. Most of my basketball career I've been a scorer, but this year with grit, I want to obviously score, but I want to get steals, blocks, assists, rebounds. Like I want to do all of it. Also, I want to work on efficiency shooting wise, and also I forget what I was gonna say, but those are like the big two.
Well, we like stat stuffers, but yeah, there's lots of ways too you can contribute to a game and a win, even if you're not showing it in the stats. So obviously you want to get buckets and get rebounds and assists and steals, but if you're missing shots, then find other ways that you can contribute. And I like that she said be efficient, because if you're a scorer and you can get 20, do it, but don't do it on 25 attempts, so being efficient is a big deal. So all right, LJ, we're gonna pass it to Kale. Mr. Murphy, you're up. South Medford's finest, you're up. He went back to mute. I don't know, I can't hear him, but I know he's introducing himself to the people in the room, but Brandon's like, I can't hear him. LJ's like, what's this kid's name?
Okay, my phone wasn't working. All right.
It's all right. We got you now, Kale.
I'm Kale Murphy. The thing that I really want to get better at is being aware, making the right decisions, and just always being able to read the defense and make the right plays for my team.
Make the right place for my
I was like, is it working?
and then make the right place for my team. I love the echo. Good job, Kale. Are any relation to Dennis Murphy, Kale?
That was a big no.
Big no. Okay. Guy's kind of a legend around South Medford, Kale. So until they talk about putting your name on the court, got to show a little respect to the guy. He won a lot of games there as a Panther. So in South Medford, Dennis Murphy still carries a lot of weight. So
Correction. I said big no.
oh, that was
did
you.
not. That
Okay,
was me.
Kale said no.
Yeah, you don't.
I know
Yeah.
I'm just not related to him.
He's not. He's
Not
all good
related
with.
to him.
He's all good with Coach Murphy.
Dennis Murphy is a legend. All right, who else we got? Tyler, Eddie, Mr. Eddie.
I'm Tyler Eddy. I'm a sophomore at Valley Catholic. Right.
Can you say that a little nicer, please?
I think I just want to work on like consistency and like being aggressive every game and not like switching how I play every single game.
Good players show flashes of excellence, but great players bring that every play. So you got to make an impact, whether it's offensively or defensively, consistently. All right. Well, I think we're gonna have the Kale, Cooper, Gagnon, Tyler, Eddie. We can hop off. We're gonna set up those team group chats. So Cooper, Tyler, Kale, you'll be getting a message from Willis about a time when you guys are going to be getting together, or at least trying to meet briefly. Maybe it's even 12 o'clock on Zoom before the 1 o'clock practice on Friday. Willis is going to organize that with you guys in the chat. So I'm going to sign off, and Joel, you can take over from here. I'm not going to sign off. I would
Practice time. See ya. And
pass
Braden,
time. So Brandon,
Brandon, we'll see ya. We'll see you up there Friday, ready to rock and roll.
All right. See you then.
Okay. See you guys.
have a great practice. See y'all.